Welcome to Westside's March Children's Art Class. This month we will be making a Zentangle pop art bunny. This month's project is a mashup of two art styles, the Zentangle rabbit and the pop art background. Now, what is Zentangle and what is pop art? Zentangles are designs that include non-representative repeating patterns. You can do Zentangle designs within a larger outline, such as our bunny, or combine them together on their own without a defined outline. Pop art is a visual art movement that emerged in the 1950s and was popular in the 1960s here in the U.S. It is characterized by themes and techniques drawn from popular mass culture, such as TV, movies, advertising, and even comic books. Food was a common theme, but so were household objects. Pop artists like to satirize or ridicule objects, sometimes enlarging those objects to gigantic proportions. These objects reflected mass culture and consumerism. The movement was marked by clear lines, sharp paintwork, and clear representations of symbols, objects, and people commonly found in popular culture. We are ready to make our pop art Zentangle bunny. In your kit, you have containers of liquid watercolors. The liquid watercolors need to be diluted. You'll add a tablespoon of water to your paint, and then you can paint them on your blank paper that comes in the kit, just like you would regular paint. Also in the kit, you get a paintbrush, a permanent black marker, which you'll use your Zentangle, and a form for your bunny. Right now, we're going to concentrate on the watercolors and painting in our background. So the liquid watercolors, as I was saying, it's concentrated. You can dilute it using a half a tablespoon to a tablespoon of water. In your cup. I've already added my water to mine. Now, you can do whatever kind of pattern you would like on your background. In my example, I've done a background just where I have slanting lines. Now, if you look on your Zentangle bunny pop art bunny directions, you have a picture that shows different ways you could possibly do your background. Somebody did one in a chevron pattern, which that just means they've taken it and done like a zigzag pattern. Also in a sunburst pattern, and that just means it has like the lines that are radiating out like sunbeams. I've just done mine with the slanting lines, and somebody also did it with circles. It's whatever you want to do with yours. I like the slanting lines, so the one I'm doing today is going to be the same as my example here. Okay. So the paper that comes in your kit is a multimedia paper. It is with watercolor. You need to use paper, a heavyweight paper that is designed to get wet. Regular paper, even like a cardstock paper, is not meant to get wet. The multimedia paper or watercolor paper is the type of paper you need to use with watercolor. If you ever are using watercolor and you go shopping for like a tablet of paper to use with them, look, it needs to say to use with watercolor somewhere on there. If not, your paper just gets too soaked. It doesn't hold up to the water content in the watercolor paint. Now, with liquid watercolor, the cool thing is you don't have to wet your paper beforehand. You don't have to wet your paint. It is already done. You just have to apply it like you would regular paint. All right, so let's start drawing in our background. All right, I'm going to do a blue first. I'm going to just start with my corner. And see, it just goes on like you would regular paint. In watercolor, like okay, so watercolors, since it has a high water content, you'll see here, there's a lot of liquid. So as you brush it, it spreads out. So you don't need to put a whole lot of watercolor on your paper. A little bit goes a long way with watercolor. Okay, so I've done a blue corner, and I'm gonna rinse my brush, and I'm gonna do another color. All right, so while your background is drying, you're going to draw in the design on your Zentangle bunny. So in your kit, you get a blank form with lines. In the lines is where you're going to put your Zentangle designs. Also in your kit, you get some samples of different designs you can make. So you can you can do this a couple of ways. You can get really fancy or just keep it really simple. So, for example, on the Pop Art Zentangle Bunny here, if you notice, I have just filled in my rabbit form with hash. Okay, so if you notice, I have filled in my form with hash lines. They're just simple, straight, slanted lines. Or you can go really fancy. Actually, I'm going to do this. No. Okay. Sorry. Okay. 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 Let's do this from the top. Okay. So while your background is drying, you are going to use your black pen to complete the Zentangle part of your project. In your kit, you have a form of your rabbit, and you're going to put designs in the blank spaces. Now, your designs can be either really simple or really fancy. Also in your kit, I've included some examples of Zentangles you can use to fill in your form. Now, I have two examples. One is super simple. It is just hash lines filling in your form. And then I've gone all fancy and used a variety of patterns to fill in my bunny form. So, how elaborate you get with this is up to you. So, I'm going to show you some different ways you can use your Zentangles. Okay, so we have our form, we have our black pen, and we're going to fill in our form. So I'm going to show you some simple ways. So I just did like hash lines. Which is super simple. Now, if you notice with the hash lines, you have a lot of white space, but only a hint of black. So on the next line, if I'm doing something like, I want my next line to have more black in it than white. So say, okay, I'm going to do a zigzag pattern. Okay, and then I'm going to color in my zigzags. And see, you're starting to see where this line has a lot of black to it. And I'm going to keep coloring that until I'm at the end of my row. All right, So, you know, with my zigzag pattern, I have black up here and I have white down here. Okay, so, all right, that's a lot of white. What can I do to break it up? I can put polka dots. Okay, so you can use polka dots. You can use lines. You can even do little like X's. Basically, what you do is up to your imagination. Just keep in mind that you want your black and white values to balance each other out. So this line, you have a lot of black. So on your next line, you're going to want a pattern that has white against the black. So let's see, what can we do? Let's do like little crescent shapes. All right, and you can do like these radiating out spirals. And then when you get to a certain point, you change it going the opposite direction. All right. Something else you can do is you can do like a little polka dot and then a squiggly line, polka dot, squiggly, some polka dots, squiggly line. You know, you can have like crescent moon shapes. You can have them going like this. Basically, it's anything where you're going to have some white, a lot of white and black. And then you just keep alternating that. As you can see with this one, where I started off, I have like the hash lines. There's a lot of white value. And then in the next line, there's a lot of black, and it alternates. So this is an example, a completed example of a really fancy Zentangle where you have a lot of pattern, a lot of variety, and then you can just do it really, really simple. You can just do it where it's like the hash lines or another really simple basic design. This does not have to be super complicated. It's what you like, what you can do, what you want to do. That is what art is your representation of the Zentangle part of the Zentangle Pop Art Bunny. So once you have your form filled in, you are going to cut it out and glue it. So I already have an example of my hashline bunny. So I'm going to take one of my frou-frou fancy bunnies and I'm going to cut it out and glue it on. I know. Oh my God, it rather is a posh Easter bunny. So we have our bunny cut out. And we are going to take our dry background and we are going to glue our bunny on it. Thank you for joining me today to make our Zentangle pop art bunny. If you would like to explore more Zentangle artwork, we have books on that. And if you want to learn more about the artists that influenced the pop art movement, you can find those and other books at the Rapides Parish Library. You can request items either online through our catalog or through a librarian. Remember, you can also explore our digital collection through Libby, Hoopla, and Cloud Library. Bye, and have a great day.